I was already nervous walking into that room, but when I saw the council sitting there like they owned the universe, I almost turned around. Big table. Too shiny. Too white. Like they were trying too hard to look neutral. I wasn't buying it. Neither was Daya, who leaned over and whispered, "Why do I feel like I'm about to be dissected?" "Because they think we're animals," I muttered back. "Just smile." One of them, long neck, pale green skin, weird glassy eyes, spoke first. "Human representatives. You may begin your statement." Statement. Like this was a trial. I cleared my throat. "Yeah, okay. My name's Kiran Holt. This is Daya Sharma. We're from Earth. You might have heard of us." A few of them glanced at each other. Not impressed. "We've heard," one said, voice all smooth and smug. "Your planet was recently given conditional observation status. That does not imply readiness." "Readiness for what?" Daya asked, leaning forward. "You invited us here." "You requested entry into the Interstellar Archive," the smooth one said. "We're here to assess whether your species qualifies." "And what exactly do you think we are?" I asked. There was a pause. Then another voice, deeper, older sounding. "Primitive." My jaw clenched. Daya grabbed my wrist like, "Don't." But it was too late. I laughed. "You've got to be kidding me." "No," said the green one. "Your civilization has only recently developed faster-than-light capability. You have no interplanetary governance. Your history is violent, your culture fragmented, your biosphere." Okay, we get it," Daya cut in. "We suck." "You misunderstand," said the smooth one. "You are unevolved." I was done pretending. "Right. And what exactly is your criteria for evolved?" "Lack of emotion. Shiny clothes. Living in a bubble where no one argues because you all voted to erase conflict from your brains." That got a reaction. Subtle, but I saw it. One of them tilted their head like they were running diagnostics. "We do not erase," the smooth one said slowly. "We advance." "And that's the problem," Daya said. "You think progress means forgetting where you came from." Silence. So I tried a different angle. "Have any of you even studied Earth history?" "Of course," said the old one. "We've reviewed the standard records. Wars, plagues, division, environmental destruction. A linear sequence of chaos." Linear. I laughed again. "You think it was linear?" Daya was staring at them like they were the kids and she was the teacher. "You only looked at the surface. You never read the real stuff. The archive contains all verified material." "No," I said, cutting him off. "The archive contains uploaded material. You got sanitized textbooks, corporate news, and state-approved documentaries. You missed the actual history. The stuff we buried. Or forgot. Or were too scared to write down." The green one narrowed its eyes. "Are you suggesting there is unrecorded human knowledge?" "I'm saying," I leaned forward, "you don't even know about the black archives." That got them. One of them blinked slow. Another leaned back slightly. Daya nodded. "Hidden libraries. Underground vaults. Oral traditions. Lost languages. Codes wrapped in music, in math, in myth. We've got history you wouldn't believe." "Prove it," the smooth one said. "We can't bring it to you," I said. "It doesn't survive translation. Doesn't fit in your standard record formats. You want to understand Earth. You've got to go there." They all looked at each other. Long pause. Creepy mind meld vibes. I hated it. Then the old one said, "You will take us." Daya looked at me. I looked at her. "You're coming to Earth?" she asked. "Not all of us. One observer," the green one replied. "You will guide. You will reveal what has been hidden." "And if we do?" I asked. "Then perhaps," the smooth one said, "your species is not as primitive as it appears." They ended the meeting like that. No thank you, no good luck. Just gone. 1 second we're talking, next second, room empty. I hate when they do that. Back on the shuttle, Daya was quiet. She only talks when she's planning something dangerous. "You okay?" I asked. "Not really. They're just scared," I said. They act like they're in charge, but deep down, they're terrified we might be smarter than they are. She nodded slowly. They have no idea what they're about to see. We landed 3 hours later. Earth hadn't changed. Still messy. Still loud. Still us. The Observer arrived at night. No ship. Just appeared in a field near old Kansas ruins. No name, no face. Just a shifting figure in a glowing robe. Creepy as hell. Great, I muttered. We got assigned a haunted bedsheet. It spoke. Voice like a dozen people talking at once. I am ready to witness. Daya crossed her arms. Hope you brought a thick skin. I was about to say something snarky when the ground trembled. Just a little. Like a warning. Daya froze. You feel that? Yeah. The Observer tilted its head. Explain. I looked toward the woods. Nothing there. Nothing we could see, anyway. That, I said, was a door unlocking. The Observer said nothing. Just turned and stared at the dark. And I knew, something down there had felt us coming. Something we'd buried a long time ago. Something we maybe shouldn't dig up. Daya wouldn't stop looking at the trees. Kieran, I swear something moved. It's a raccoon, I said, but I didn't believe it. Not out here. Not with that kind of vibration in the ground. Or a feral dog. We're in Zone Red. There haven't been dogs here in 50 years. The Observer said nothing, just kept that blank, shape-shifting posture. Its glow pulsed once, slow and even, like a heartbeat. Or maybe a warning light. There is activity beneath. Daya turned to it. Define activity. Biothermal signatures. Unusual density. Rhythmic energy spikes. So basically, I said, it's alive. There is no record of life forms in this zone, the Observer said. Yeah, because the records are trash, Daya muttered. We stood in silence for a second. The wind kicked up, carrying that dry grass smell mixed with rust. I hated that smell. Took me back to the incident reports we used to read in school. The ones with blacked out pages and no happy endings. Okay, I said, we head to Vault 7. That's where the first blackout happened. 20 miles west. No roads, so we hike. The Observer hovered, like it wasn't touching the ground. Why was this location sealed? Daya looked at me, then at it. That's the thing. No one knows. The official reason was radiation, but no one ever detected any. Then entire zones just got cordoned off. People vanished. Data erased. Cities swallowed by forests. Primitive societies often rewrite or conceal history out of fear, the Observer said. I almost laughed. And evolved ones do it out of shame. You're not that different from us. We walked in silence for a while. Dust kicked up behind us. Old metal signs stuck out of the dirt like broken teeth. No entry. Class 5, biohazard. Someone had spray-painted over one with a symbol I didn't recognize. 3 jagged lines intersecting a circle. The Observer stopped. Daya noticed it first. What? You sense something. There are frequencies here that do not align with any known planetary emissions. Like what? Something ancient. Purposeful. Repeating. I tilted my head. I didn't hear anything at first. Then, real faint, thump, thump, thump. A beat. It wasn't sound exactly. It was inside us. Like a pressure. Every time it hit, my stomach twisted a little. Daya frowned. That's not tech. That's a call. Maybe we should turn around, I said. She gave me a look. You serious? I mean, it feels wrong. Everything feels wrong, she said. That's how you know it's real. She was right. Of course she was. We kept going. Vault 7 was mostly underground. From a distance, it looked like a hill with half a door sticking out of it. Grass had swallowed the entrance, but I could still see the old military markings. The Observer hovered in front of the door. This structure is pre-unification. Unknown alloy. No external access code. It's locked, I said. But we brought the key. Daya unzipped her pack and pulled out the slate, a black hexagon with Earth's old flag burned into it. Stars. A circle. The old dream. We pressed it against the metal. Nothing happened for a second. Then the whole thing shook. A hiss. A click. The door slid open halfway and stopped. Inside, everything smelled like wet dust. The kind that sticks to your lungs. The walls were lined with dead screens and warning signs. We stepped in, one at a time. The moment the observer crossed the threshold, the lights came on. Dim. Flickering. But on. It responded to you, Daya whispered. I do not emit power, it replied. Well, it likes you anyway. We moved through tight halls covered in vines and peeling paint. Every few feet, the hum got louder. That thump, 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 in our bodies sped up. Matched our heartbeats. Like it knew we were here. This place is awake, I said. No, Daya whispered. It never slept. We reached the central chamber. Massive, circular. A dome overhead full of broken glass. In the center was the core. I'd seen photos of it before they were deleted. An obsidian sphere, 12 feet across, floating in the air with no support. Only it wasn't floating now. It was pulsing. The observer floated closer. This construct is not recorded in any planetary archive. Yeah, I said. That's kinda the point. What is its function? No clue. Daya stepped forward. But I think it's reading us. The core lit up. Not just a glow. Symbols spun across it, words I didn't recognize but felt like I should. I reached out without thinking. Kieran, wait. Too late. My fingers brushed it. And I saw flashes. Cities burning in the sky. People running underground. Giant machines in orbit with no flags, no sides. Just hunger. Then deeper. Deserts full of bones arranged in patterns. Code carved into stone. Songs echoing through ice. And something older. Way older. Not human. Watching. I pulled my hand back. Heart hammering. Daya caught me. What did you see? Everything. The observer tilted. Explain. The war before the wars. Before we had names for enemies. Before we even knew we were at war. That history does not exist. Yeah, I said, voice shaking. Because we buried it. Deep. Daya stared at the core. This isn't just a storage vault. No, I said. It's a warning. Right then, the ground shook again. Harder. Dust fell from the ceiling. A low rumble started building, like something grinding its way to the surface. The core flared. Lights red now. Spinning faster. I backed up. We triggered something. Daya grabbed my arm. Something's coming. The observer turned to us. You must clarify. What have you awakened? I looked at it. At Daya. At the core thrumming like a heartbeat on fire. Then I said what I really didn't want to say. I think we just rang the dinner bell. And the rumble turned into a roar. We ran. I don't even remember deciding to run. 1 second the core was screaming, the next we were tearing down that corridor like it was on fire behind us. The observer floated behind, too calm, too quiet. Daya yelled, move faster, glow stick. The roar was everywhere now. Not in the air, under the ground. Deeper than any engine. It felt like the planet itself was waking up. We burst out into the open just as the vault's doors slammed shut behind us. Not slowly either. Fast, like it was trying to keep something in. I bent over, hands on my knees. Could barely breathe. What the hell was that? Something we were never supposed to see, Daya said, staring at the sealed entrance like it might pop open again. The observer hovered in silence. Then it said, the structure activated a planetary defense mechanism. Daya squinted at it. Wait, what? Signals have been sent. Not just locally. System-wide. Possibly farther. You mean like an alarm? I asked. I mean, it said, something heard us. We didn't speak after that. Just looked at each other, then toward the tree line. Same dead woods. Same crooked shadows. But different now. Like something was watching. I broke the silence. So what, Earth used to have some kind of warning system? Daya shook her head. Not a system. A memory. Come again. You saw it, didn't you? She asked. When you touched the core. You saw the burn lines, the sky machines, the dark orbitals. I nodded slowly. Yeah, stuff I didn't even know had names. Because no one ever wrote them down, she said. That wasn't history. That was experience. The observer floated a little closer. Explain. Earth constructed a memory. Not Earth, Daya said. Us. Humans. A long, long time ago. I remembered the patterns. The rhythm of the pulses. The way the core had read me like a book. We left messages in ourselves. Bio-coded memory, Daya said. Buried in instinct. In symbols. Places. Objects that triggered genetic recall. That core was a translator. The observer glitched for a second. Not a visual glitch. A pause. Like its brain skipped a beat. That level of memory engineering is primitive, I asked, without smiling. Impossible, it corrected. You don't get it, Daya said. The people who made that thing, they weren't like us. Or you. They didn't need databases. They were the database. I stood up straight. So if we triggered one, there might be more. Daya nodded. Hundreds, maybe. Or thousands. A long silence. Even the wind felt like it was holding its breath. Then the observer said something that didn't sound like a statement. More like fear. If true, the archive has made a mistake. We didn't respond. Because behind us, the vault started glowing. Red, pulsing light oozed from the seams in the metal. Like it was alive. Like it was breathing. I stepped back. Nope. Nope, we're not doing round 2. Daya turned. We need to leave. Now. We started moving again, faster this time, not even bothering to check our gear. It didn't matter. We needed distance. We were 2 miles out when we saw the first one. At first I thought it was a tree stump. Then it moved. Stop, Daya hissed. I froze. The figure was hunched, covered in some kind of stone armor. Except the armor wasn't added on, it was the body. Pale gray, cracked, human-shaped, almost, but wrong. It turned its head toward us. No eyes. Just a slit where a face should have been. Then it spoke. One word. Garbled. Like it hadn't used its voice in 1,000 years. Witness. I didn't breathe. Couldn't. The observer floated forward slowly. Identify yourself. The stone thing didn't answer. It turned away and started walking, more like gliding, back toward the vault. Daya whispered, "It's going to the signal." I nodded. We're not the only ones who heard it. We kept going. No one spoke for a while. The trees got thinner. The land changed. Less overgrown. Like it remembered being walked on. Like it wanted us there. Daya finally said, "We need to reach Deep Hollow." I stopped. Are you serious? That's where the next memory site is. The place with the gravity scars? The ones that crushed satellites mid-air? Yes. The observer sounded alarmed for once. That region is classified as a dimensional fault. Daya looked over her shoulder. Yeah, because something's locked in there. And that's when we heard the second pulse. Louder. Farther. Answering the first one. I looked at her. That wasn't from here. She nodded. No. That was orbit. We all looked up. The sky was still blue. Still Earth. But now it had a heartbeat. And something was listening. Waiting. Calling back. We didn't sleep that night. The pulses didn't stop. Every hour, like clockwork, the ground would tremble just enough to remind us we weren't alone. The sky stayed quiet, but it felt heavier. Like the stars were holding their breath. Daya sat by the fire, poking it with a stick she didn't need. I keep thinking about the word it said. Witness, I said. Yeah, me too. She looked at me. Not a threat. Not a warning. A roll. Like it was waiting for us. Or testing us. The observer hovered just beyond the light. Didn't eat, didn't sleep, didn't blink. Just stared at the woods. The entity made no aggressive moves, it finally said. Why did you flee? Because it shouldn't exist, Daya said without turning. That thing's not in any database. No records. No fossils. No mentions in oral histories. Nothing. I nodded. It was from before we knew how to record. The observer buzzed softly. An era with no archives cannot be verified. Exactly, Dia said. That's the point. Morning came, gray and damp. The trail to Deep Hollow was overgrown and half-melted. No drones flew here. No satellites mapped it. This was one of the black zones, quiet on all frequencies, even time. 2 hours in, Dia stopped walking. Do you hear that? I paused. Nothing. No birds, she whispered. No bugs. No wind. She was right. The observer tilted. Environmental stasis. Unnatural. We pressed forward. The hollow wasn't actually a hole. It was a scar. A long, sunken canyon with smooth walls like something massive had scraped through the earth and melted the edges behind it. I'd only seen it once before, from satellite footage. It had shimmered like water, even though it was land. Now it was right in front of us. Real. Bigger than I expected. Deeper than it looked. Dia crouched and touched the ground near the edge. Still warm. I stared down into it. How? The fault's still active, she said. Even after all this time. The observer floated a few feet above the rim. There is a structure beneath. Buried. Metallic. Shielded. Dia and I looked at each other. Another core? I asked. Maybe, she said. Or worse. We climbed down slowly. Every step felt wrong. Like gravity didn't fully agree with itself. At one point, I dropped a rock. It fell sideways. Just slid across the wall like it forgot how to drop. This place hates physics, I muttered. It's not meant to make sense, Dia said. It's meant to protect. Halfway down, we saw the door. Not like Vault 7. This one wasn't man-made. It was part of the rock, but too smooth, too perfect. A tall oval, maybe 8 feet high, pulsing faintly with orange light. I've seen this before, Dia said quietly. I turned to her. Where? In a dream. Years ago. Before we ever got assigned to this mission. The observer hovered closer to the door. Memory bleed. Unusual. No, she said, eyes wide. It's designed to call us. It's part of us. I stepped forward. My skin started tingling. Don't touch it yet, Dia said. Let it see us first. The pulse from the door changed. Faster now. The rhythm matched my heartbeat. Then hers. Then the observer's, if it even had one. The stone melted. Literally melted. Folded inward like warm wax, revealing a passage dimly lit by the same orange glow. We stepped in. The hallway curved gently, spiraling downward. The walls were smooth, but covered in carvings, none of them familiar. Symbols. Some looked like stars, others like DNA. A few moved when I stared too long. Then I heard it. Whispers. Not in the air, in my head. Not words exactly. Ideas. Shapes. Memories that weren't mine. I stopped. Dia. You hear that? She nodded. It's speaking. The observer made a low tone. I am not receiving audio. It's not for you, Dia said. The hallway opened into a chamber. Octagonal. The air was dense, like it hadn't been breathed in centuries. In the center stood a column of light, rising from the floor and vanishing into the ceiling. Floating inside it was another core, this one smaller, silver instead of black. It turned slowly, like it was listening. Dia stepped forward. The core flashed once, and her eyes went white. Just for a second. She gasped and dropped to her knees. Dia. She held up a hand. I'm fine. I just saw too much. The observer hovered back slightly. This construct is not inert. No, I said. It's awake. Dia stood up, slower this time. It showed me the first time they came. They? The observer asked. Not humans. Not us. Something else. I stepped closer to the core. Invaders. Harvesters, she said. Not for resources. For stories. Memories. They fed on history. Drained it from species. Left worlds blank. That's not possible, the observer said. It happened, Daya said. Earth fought back. We buried our past so deep even we couldn't find it. Set traps made of memory. Locks inside minds. The core flared again. This time, it hit all of us. Flashes, again. But different. A woman standing in front of a burning sky, singing to a machine shaped like a tree. A boy drawing symbols into dirt as metal giants scanned the horizon. A ship leaving Earth with a single passenger, holding the last spoken word of a lost language. Then darkness. Silence. Back in the chamber, my legs almost gave out. We're not remembering. We're becoming. Daya looked pale. The planet's rewriting us. Pulling up the old code. The observer glitched again, visibly this time. Its form shimmered, then snapped back. This data, if shared, would rewrite the archive. No, Daya said. It would erase the archive. I stared at the core, still spinning. This is just one node, I said. There are more. How many? Daya asked. Before I could answer, the ground shook again. But different this time. Not a pulse. A knock. 3 slow, deep impacts. Like fists against a massive door. The core flared red. The door behind us sealed. And a voice, not human, spoke from everywhere at once. You were not supposed to wake. We were trapped. And the past was coming back. The chamber was dead silent after that voice. No echoes. No wind. Just the core spinning slowly like it hadn't just threatened us. Daya whispered. It heard us. I nodded, mouth dry. I think it heard everything. The observer stayed still. It was flickering around the edges again. Glitching harder. That voice did not originate from this structure. It came from outside. Outside the hollow? I asked. No, it said. Outside the system. Daya looked at me. Kieran. It was listening the whole time. I know, I said. We just rang the wrong bell. The core dimmed, just a little. Like it was waiting. Daya stepped closer again. Don't, I said. You saw what happened last time. She didn't stop. We're past that now. She placed her hand on it. Nothing happened at first. Then her whole body jerked once, like she got shocked. But she didn't pull away. I saw her eyes go white again. Not glowing, just gone. She stood there, frozen, lips moving, but no sound came out. The observer hovered closer. She is interfacing. Receiving ancestral code. Can you stop it? I asked. I do not think I should. Then she spoke. But it wasn't her voice. Designate. Aletheia. 3rd seed. Last veil. I backed up. What is that? Daya, whatever was in her, kept talking. Epic memory unsealed. Conscious barrier compromised. Directive, awaken retainers. The core pulsed once. And then again, deeper. Slower. Daya! I yelled. She blinked. Her knees gave out, and I caught her before she hit the floor. Her breathing was fast, shallow. I saw them, she gasped. The ones who made the cores. I held her up. Who were they? She looked at me with wide, terrified eyes. Us. But not us. Before us. We're just the copy. That's when the chamber walls began to shift. Not collapse, shift. Rearranging themselves. The carvings moved like liquid, forming new paths. The ground under the core cracked open and something rose out of it. A chair. No, not a chair. A station. The observer scanned it. This is an activation module. Daya steadied herself. It's a beacon. The observer whirled toward her. You must not engage it. She ignored it. I looked at the station. If we turn that on, something finds us, right? She nodded. But something else wakes up too. Is that good or bad? Depends on who wakes up first. We stared at it for a while. None of us moved. Then I heard the knock again. Not just under us this time. Above. Like footsteps. Heavy ones. On land that had no right to carry anything. The observer's light dimmed. We are not alone in this region anymore. I looked up at the ceiling. More of the stone ones? Daya shook her head slowly. No. Something older. We had a choice. Stay in the chamber and activate the beacon, or run while we still had a chance. Then the ceiling cracked. Just a line at first. But it widened fast. Something massive moved over us, dragging weight across the hollow roof like it was looking for a way in. The core spun faster. I looked at Daya. You sure about this? She nodded. Earth doesn't need protection anymore. It needs to remember. I took a deep breath and stepped toward the station. There wasn't a screen. No buttons. Just a handprint and a single word engraved in old Earth glyphs. Before. I placed my palm on it. Light shot out from the core in every direction. Into the walls, the floor, the air. It wasn't just light. It was data. It felt like standing in a storm made of thoughts. I heard voices. Laughter. Screams. Songs. Whole languages being born and dying in seconds. The observer jolted backward. Memory broadcast initiated. What does that mean? I asked, holding on as the wind started to roar around us. It means, Daya said, eyes glowing again, everyone just heard us. We weren't in the chamber anymore. At least, not fully. Everything around us flickered. The walls became stars. The floor became sky. We were standing in the middle of a projection. No, a world. The original Earth. Not ours. Older. Wilder. And alive. Cities floated in the clouds. Trees hundreds of meters tall swayed in purple winds. Towers shaped like DNA strands spiraled into the stratosphere. Everything shimmered with something deeper than technology. Then I saw the ships. Not above us, within us. Inside the memory. Hundreds of them, shaped like glass and flame. And behind them, the others. Black silhouettes, feeding on the light. Eating history. And losing. I gasped. We won. Daya was crying. Not at first. Not until we sacrificed it all. The great forgetting, I said. They made it happen. On purpose. She nodded. To protect the seed. The projection vanished. We were back in the chamber. The core had gone silent. The station retracted. But the message was sent. All over the planet, lights were coming on. Buried cores waking up. Memories reactivating. Humans, real humans, starting to remember. The observer shook like it was malfunctioning. The archive cannot process this. You are not primitives. I looked at it. No. We're survivors. Daya leaned on me. We were always more than they let us be. A crack boomed above. Dust rained down. The hollow was no longer safe. Something was coming for us. I turned to the exit tunnel, which was slowly reopening. We need to go. Now. Daya nodded. The observer followed silently, still stunned. As we climbed out, the wind picked up. But it wasn't wind. It was voices. Whispers carried across the land. Stories. Names. Warnings. Promises. And somewhere far away, the sky blinked. Something was descending. Something that hadn't forgotten. Something that never stopped watching. And we were no longer hidden. I didn't think the sky could open like that. It didn't break. Didn't burn. It peeled. First, the clouds went still. Then a line appeared, thin and perfect, slicing across the upper atmosphere like someone had drawn it with a blade. Behind that line, stars. Not ours. Too many. Wrong colors. And one of them moved. Daya grabbed my arm. That's not a ship. It's looking at us, I said before I could stop myself. The observer spun midair like it had been yanked by some invisible hand. Non-terrestrial mind signature approaching. Extremely high density. Planet-scale consciousness. You mean it's a brain? I asked. I mean, it said, it's alive and it's bigger than Earth. We ran. Again. The hollow behind us pulsed like a warning. Red. Then white. Then it went dark. Not powered down. Gone. Like it had been erased from the ground. The core, the chamber, the walls. All of it. Just gone. Like it knew it had done its job and didn't want to be found. They're waking them up, Daya said between breaths. The old guardians. The hidden ones. I looked at her. Guardians of what? Not what, she said. When? That didn't make sense. Until it did. They weren't guarding places. They were guarding memories. And the moment we remembered too much, the thing in the sky came back. The observer slowed. A signal is spreading across the planet. Cores are reactivating. All of them? I asked. Not all, Daya said. Just the ones that passed the test. We climbed to the top of a ridge where we could see the horizon. Lights. Dozens of them. White beams rising into the sky like searchlights, each one from a different corner of the earth. Not loud. Not violent. Just solid. Like someone lighting candles in the dark. People are waking up, I whispered. Then the beam closest to us flickered. And disappeared. I turned. Did it shut down? No, Daya said, her voice tight. Something took it. We stared as another beam collapsed. Then, another. One by one, the lights started winking out, like they were being pinched between fingers we couldn't see. The observer sounded scared. There's something in orbit. Feeding on memory. I closed my eyes. It's back. No, Daya said. It never left. It just waited for us to become tasty again. We didn't have weapons. Didn't have shields. All we had was the truth. So we ran again, but this time we weren't looking for shelter. We were looking for others. Because the memories weren't just waking up cores. They were waking up people. We reached an outpost near what used to be northern Alaska. It had been abandoned decades ago. Too cold, too unstable. But now it was glowing. Not with electricity, with life. 3 people waited for us there. All of them looked normal, human. But their eyes, deep gold, no pupils, told a different story. One of them stepped forward. Woman. Tall. Worn face. Voice like falling snow. You're the witnesses. Daya nodded. You carry the key. I stepped forward. You know what's happening. We remember, the woman said. The other 2 raised their hands. Between them floated a small core, white instead of black or silver. I'd never seen one before. The observer jolted. This is not from your time. No, the woman said. It's from before time started counting forward. I whispered. That doesn't even mean anything. It does now, Daya said. The woman placed her hand on the core, and we all felt it. The ground dropped away. The sky flipped inside out. We weren't standing in snow anymore. We were under it. Not physically. In memory. Beneath the current world. Beneath the layers of rewritten history. Here, Earth was golden. Skies shone like oceans. Cities floated. But none of it was technology. It was biography. Every object remembered its story. Every stone whispered who had stepped on it. The air itself sang timelines like lullabies. Then we saw them. The harvesters. They didn't walk or fly. They just arrived. A silence shaped like absence. They didn't destroy things. They forgot them. Walked through a forest, and it stopped being a forest. Passed over a child, and she stopped being born. That's when I saw the first core. Buried in the heart of a mountain. A child placed it there. Alone. Crying. The mountain whispered back to her. Taught her how to sleep inside time. The core wasn't made by hands. It was made by memory. Pain. Loss. Love. A defense system not of guns, but of meaning. That was Earth's real weapon. We came back. Snow again. Wind. Cold. But we weren't the same anymore. The woman stared at me. You saw it too. I nodded. They can't eat what's shared. Only what's hoarded. Daya snapped her fingers. That's it. That's the key. What is? I asked. The memories. The stories. They're not meant to be protected. They're meant to be spread. Like a vaccine, I said. Against forgetting. The observer floated closer. If you broadcast that truth, planet-wide, it may destabilize your current culture. It already is, I said. We're out of time. We turned to the white core. Daya stepped up to it. She didn't hesitate this time. Hand on the surface. She whispered one word. Now. The core exploded silently, not in fire, but in memory. not just Earth. Everywhere. Every human, sleeping or awake, saw flashes of who they used to be. A girl riding a firebird. A man holding hands with stars. A baby born inside a storm that spoke poetry. Names returned. Songs came back. Languages restitched themselves in the air like spiderwebs. And up in the sky, the thing watching us reeled back. Like it had been burned by a light it hadn't seen in eons. The beams flared again, brighter this time. Not just white now. Red, blue, violet. All the colors of stories too old to name. Daya fell to her knees, laughing and crying at once. "We did it," she whispered. "The observer's light was dim now. The archive will collapse." "Good," I said. "Maybe this time we'll write our own." The sky peeled back closed. The stars settled. And Earth remembered itself. Not the version in textbooks. The one underneath. The one that had never forgotten. And now, neither would we.